Picture this for a second. There is a 22-year-old lifestyle creator sitting in this like pristine, sun-drenched Hollywood studio.
Okay, I can picture it.
Right. And they are literally being handed a $500,000 check by an executive from one of the biggest tech companies on the planet. And their only job, to post like 3 casual videos on their social media over the next month about a new AI chatbot.
It's just wild.
It's insane. Meanwhile, out in the real world, you have 3 million other creators desperately trying to get an AI to write their next video script, literally fighting over pennies in ad revenue. That is the jaw-dropping statistic that completely shattered my illusion of a level playing field this week.
Yeah, that wealth gap it's getting massive.
Google and Microsoft are paying individual creators up to $500,000 for a handful of posts. But the brutal irony, and this is according to that massive March 2026 industry report that just dropped, is that 75% of regular creators are making less than $100,000 a year. Welcome to the great AI divide.
It is a staggering dichotomy, really. We're watching a handful of people strike absolute gold with these big tech sponsorships, while the vast majority of the creator middle class is left, fighting over algorithmic scraps.
Right.
And it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question, like, if AI is supposed to be this great democratizer, why is the wealth concentrating faster than ever before?
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is crystal clear. We are giving you, the faceless creator, the AI-driven brand, the entrepreneur operating entirely behind the scenes, a newsroom meets brand strategy breakdown of the most critical moves in AI right now.
Exactly. We are your guides through the noise today.
Right. We're extracting only the most vital intel to keep you out of that bottom 75%. We have a massive agenda for today's deep dive. We're exploring 4 seismic shifts. First, we're looking at what the core AI foundational models are doing, how they operate under the hood, and why these multi-billion-dollar empires are throwing millions at human influencers.
Which is a huge paradox we need to get into.
Totally. Second, we are getting incredibly tactical. We're breaking down the specific AI, video, and avatar tools you need to bypass those highly paid influencers entirely. Third, we are examining how creator algorithms are fundamentally changing this month.
With a major focus on Instagram, right?
Yep. Instagram's surprising dominance and TikTok's perceived stumble. And finally, we are diving into the new, aggressive AI regulations dropping right now in March 2026 that directly, legally impact your online business.
And, none of these are isolated trends. They form this completely closed loop.
How so?
Well, the foundational models dictate what kind of tools can be built. Then those tools flood the social platforms with entirely new types of content, right?
Yeah, the synthetic flood.
Exactly. So the platforms have to violently tweak their algorithms to handle all that content. And finally, the government steps in with a hammer to regulate the resulting chaos. It's all connected.
So let's jump right into the bedrock of all of this, the foundational models. We are talking about OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta. If you look at the raw data from this week, these giants are aggressively pivoting their marketing strategies.
They really are.
Yes, they are still spending over $1 billion on traditional digital ads, which, by the way, is up 126% from last year. But they are also carving out this massive new budget. They are paying individual creators between $400,000 and $600,000 for long-term partnerships.
It's a huge shift in how they allocate capital.
Anthropic just went out and hired a dedicated influencer marketing lead whose sole purpose is to push Quad into the cultural zeitgeist.
What's fascinating here is the underlying motivation of big tech. You have to ask yourself, these are companies that possess the most advanced computational technology in the history of human civilization.
Right, they could do practically anything.
They can generate a photorealistic video of a human speaking 10 languages in a matter of seconds. So why on earth are they paying $500,000 to a human 22-year-old holding a smartphone?
That is exactly what I was thinking. It reminds me so much of the 1990s sneaker wars.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right. Back then, Nike and Reebok were paying millions to Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal because, a shoe is just a piece of rubber and leather until Michael Jordan makes it a cultural artifact.
Exactly.
Now, Microsoft and Google are paying lifestyle influencers to make their chatbots look cool. But wait, I have to push back here.
Go for it.
If everyone, from the $500,000 influencer to the indie faceless brand operating out of a basement, is using the exact same underlying models, how does anyone actually stand out? If we all have the same ChatGPT Plus or Gemini Advanced subscription, Are we all just selling the same rubber and leather?
You're hitting on the core paradox of the 2026 creator economy right there. Big tech completely understands that their underlying AI model is just a commodity at this point.
Right, because everyone has access to it.
Exactly. Claude 3.5, GPT-5, Gemini Ultra to the average consumer, the functional difference between them is totally negligible. The AI is just the raw material. But the one thing an AI model cannot mathematically generate is genuine human trust.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense.
They are paying these massive sums because they recognize that human authenticity is the ultimate premium product. They are trying to buy the halo effect of a personal brand to sell their software.
So the model is the commodity and the human is the luxury.
Perfectly said. But let's look at the implication for the audience listening to us right now. If you are running a faceless brand or, an AI-driven online storefront, you don't have a human face to leverage. And you certainly don't have a $500,000 sponsorship.
So do you just lose?
Not at all, because by deeply understanding the specific visual and narrative capabilities of these foundational models, you can reverse engineer the premium cinematic content that big tech is currently paying top dollar to associate with. You can basically simulate the luxury.
Let's talk about those specific capabilities, because the models have leaped forward just in the last few months, and the mechanisms behind them are wild. Let's look at OpenAI's Sora 2, which is now natively bundled with ChatGPT Plus.
Which is a huge accessibility boost.
Oh, massive. According to the release notes, it is specifically mastering what they call multi-shot coherence. Now, we've had AI video for a couple of years, but before it was just generating a random, isolated 5-second clip.
Yeah, a single moving image.
You type dog running, you get a dog running, and then suddenly it morphs into a melted puddle of pixels.
The spaghetti video effect.
Exactly. But multi-shot coherence seems totally different.
It is. If we connect this to the bigger picture of how diffusion models actually work, it's a monumental breakthrough. Older AI video models suffered from a complete lack of object permanence.
Okay, break that down for me.
I like to think of older AI video like a profoundly talented artist who has zero short-term memory and they're drawing a flipbook.
Oh, that's a great way to picture it.
Right. Every single page, the artist forgets exactly what the character's face looked like, or how many fingers they had, or what color their shirt was. So the video naturally flickers and hallucinates as it plays.
Because it's reinventing the subject every single frame.
Exactly. But multi-shot coherence in Sora 2 acts like a ruthless continuity director on a Hollywood film set.
Oh, wow.
Under the hood, the model is using an expanded context window in its latent space. It mathematically maps the exact coordinates, the textures, and the lighting of a character, and it holds that data across multiple, entirely different camera angles.
So you could do a full scene.
Yes. You can generate a wide shot of a woman walking down a street, cut to a close-up of her shoes, and cut back to a medium shot of her face, and it is the exact same woman, wearing the exact same shoes and the exact same lighting.
Which means you are no longer just generating random B-roll. You are actually generating connected narrative storytelling. You are making a movie.
Exactly. You're a director now.
But then on the other side of the ring, you have Google's VO 3.1. And their approach to this seems completely different. They introduced this concept called ingredient-based prompting.
Yeah, VO 3.1 is absolutely crucial for creators who need extreme granular control over their output.
Because Sora is more about the vibe.
Right. Sora 2 is great if you want to give it a general vibe and let the AI act as the director, but ingredient-based prompting in VO 3.1 strips away all that randomness. Instead of just typing a long poetic paragraph into a text box and crossing your fingers, the user interface actually allows you to construct a scene systematically.
So how does it actually work for a user? Walk me through it, because ingredient-based makes it sound like I don't know, baking a cake.
That's a really great analogy, actually. In the VO 3.1 interface, you don't just type a cinematic tracking shot of a coffee cup. You define the ingredients in completely separate parameters.
Okay, like what?
Well, you set a specific 3D bounding box for the object. You input the exact camera focal length, say a 50mm lens. You define the trajectory of the camera path, mathematically dictating a slow pan from left to right. You set the lighting direction.
That is incredibly detailed.
It is. You are essentially providing a JSON payload of highly specific variables to the model, rather than just raw text. It gives you compositional control that really rivals a real-life physical soundstage.
Okay, so if I'm a faceless brand selling physical products, I'm using VO 3.1 when I need absolute precision. If I need a product shot of my new energy drink, And the label has to face exactly 30 degrees to the camera while a splash of water hits it from the left. VO 3.1 is the tool.
Spot on.
But I'm switching to Sora 2 when I need a cohesive emotional narrative scene for like an overarching brand story.
Yeah.
Maybe a 1-minute commercial showing a tired athlete finding their motivation.
Precisely. And from a tactical standpoint, you can access VO 3.1 via Google Gemini's pay-per-second API.
Oh, so it's pay as you go.
Right. The current pricing structure is running about 40 cents a second for standard 1080p generation, which, sounds incredibly cheap compared to hiring an entire film crew.
Yeah, 40 cents is nothing.
But if you are rapidly iterating and generating hundreds of test shots, those API calls will drain your budget really fast. So you only use that API when you have your ingredients totally locked in.
But wait, here's where it gets really complicated for the faceless creator. These foundational models, like Sora, VO, Claude, they aren't just generating content out of thin air.
No, they are incredibly hungry.
They are massive consumption engines. They are constantly crawling the internet to train their next iteration and update their retrieval augmented generation databases. And this brings us to a crucial, highly technical takeaway from the recent ITIF report.
Yes, the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation report on web scraping. This is basically the defensive layer of the AI gold rush, and it is vital for anyone listening who runs a blog, a Substack, or a proprietary e-commerce site.
So the report highlights a new protocol that is gaining serious traction across the web right now called LLMs.txt.
Can you break down what this actually is? Because I know what a robots.txt file is.
Right, the classic SEO tool.
Yeah, websites have used those for decades to tell Google search what it's allowed to look at. Is this just the exact same thing?
It is similar in spirit, but fundamentally different in execution. The old robots.txt file was designed for search engine indexing. It told a bot, yes, you can list this page on Google so humans can click it.
Okay, simple enough.
But the new LLMs.txt protocol is specifically designed for the AI age. It is a proposed standard, a literal markdown file, placed in the root directory of your website that signals exactly how AI foundational models are allowed to ingest your data.
Let me make sure I understand the mechanics of this. Let's say I run an incredibly niche, faceless blog that makes money through affiliate links. Let's say it's about repairing vintage mechanical watches.
Okay, very specific. Yeah, and I spend hundreds of hours writing these detailed teardowns. I don't want OpenAI to just send a crawler to my site, suck up all my hard-earned expertise, and use it so ChatGPT can perfectly answer questions about vintage watch repair without ever sending traffic to my website.
Which is exactly what they want to do.
Right, so do I just type, hey, OpenAI, please stop in this text file?
Not quite. The LMS.txt file uses specific programmatic directives. When an AI company's web crawler like OpenAI's OAI bot or Anthropic's Claude bot hits your server, the first thing it looks for is this exact file.
Like a bouncer checking an ID.
Perfect analogy. Inside, you can specify really granular permissions. You can say, you are allowed to read my content to provide a real-time summary to a user as long as you provide a direct citation link.
Okay, so that still drives traffic.
Right. Or you can say, you are absolutely forbidden from using this text to train the weights of your future foundational model.
So it's about separating retrieval like a search engine, answering a question today, from training, which is permanently baking my knowledge into their multi-billion-dollar brain.
Exactly. It gives you an automated way to establish those boundaries. Because if you run a faceless brand, controlling your data's relationship with the core models is just as important as the content you generate from them. Your proprietary data is your moat.
Wow, so if you don't do this...
If you don't implement an LMS.txt file, the default assumption by these tech giants is that your content is free real estate for their next billion-parameter model.
Okay, so that is the foundational layer. We know big tech is paying a massive premium for human authenticity. We know that models like Sora 2 and VO 3.1 are pushing the boundaries of multi-shot storytelling and granular compositional control. And we know how to defend our proprietary data using the LLMs.txt protocol.
That's a solid summary.
But let's move out of the data centers and the text files. Let's talk about the application layer. How do we practically apply these foundational models to generate a fully realized, high-converting ad or an interactive avatar in a matter of minutes?
This is where the rubber really meets the road for the AI entrepreneur. Having access to a massive neural network is great, but if you have to write custom Python scripts to generate a video, you're going to lose the competitor who uses a streamlined tool.
Right. Speed is everything. And looking at the landscape right now, the AI video generation space has completely fractured, but in the best way possible.
Yes, it's highly specialized now.
A year ago, we just had a few tools that tried to do everything and generally did it all terribly. Now we have highly specific, incredibly powerful niches. Let's start with the avatar-based tools. The industry sources are pointing heavily to a platform called Creatify, which is absolutely dominating the faceless e-commerce space right now.
Creatify is a fascinating case study in removing friction. Their entire value proposition is a URL to video workflow.
Walk us through what that actually looks like for a user. How does a web link turn into a video?
Imagine you have a Shopify store selling, let's say, a new ergonomic desk chair. In the Creatify user interface, you literally just paste the URL of that product page. That's step one. In the background, their system immediately scrapes the page. It pulls your high-resolution product images, it reads your product descriptions to understand the key selling points, and it even analyzes your customer reviews to find the most persuasive language.
Oh, that's smart, using the customer's own words.
Exactly. It feeds all of that context into a large language model to write a highly optimized marketing script. Then it maps that script onto a photorealistic digital presenter. An avatar syncs the lips, overlays the product images as B-roll, adds background music, and in under 10 minutes, it hands you 5 to 10 fully produced video ad variations.
That is just mind-blowing. But I want to inject a little reality here. I've used some of these avatar tools in the past, and sometimes they suffer from severe uncanny valley issues.
Oh, for sure, the dead eyes.
Yes, the eyes don't blink right, or the lip sync starts to drift from the audio like a badly dubbed martial arts movie, and suddenly your high-end ad looks like a cheap scam. Does Creatify actually solve that?
It's a great point. The lip sync drift is a known technical limitation when you try to render long, continuous takes through an AI pipeline. The audio processing finishes milliseconds before the video rendering, and over a 60-second clip, that gap noticeably widens.
So how do you fix it?
The tactical fix that Creatify and savvy users employ is chunking. They don't generate a single 60-second monologue. They generate 5-10-second clips, frequently cutting to B-roll or zooming in on the avatar to reset the visual anchor.
Oh, so you hide the drift with editing.
Exactly. Also, Creatify recently deployed a specific model they call Aurora, which is heavily optimized for the vertical 9.16 aspect ratio of mobile feeds. It intentionally compresses the visual fidelity just slightly to match the aesthetic of a front-facing smartphone camera.
Wait, they make it look worse on purpose.
Yes. Which actually hides a lot of those microscopic rendering flaws. It looks like a real TikTok video, not a glossy corporate render.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Our sources included a specific data point regarding Creatify that blew my mind.
The 1M More case study.
Yes. The consumer audio brand One More E ran a split test for their new headphones. They pitted Creatify's AI avatar ads directly against traditional human user-generated content, UGC. They paid real influencers to make videos, and they used Creatify to make synthetic videos.
And the results were insane.
The AI avatar ads saw a 200% increase in actual purchases. They saw a 158% increase in link clicks. And on the operational side, it cut their production time by 97%.
It's hard to even comprehend those numbers.
They went from a 3-day turnaround with human influencers to a 1-hour turnaround with the AI. And the cost plummeted from an average of $20 per video down to $2.
When you look at those metrics from the perspective of a performance marketer, it is a total paradigm shift. If you are optimizing for return on ad spend, a $2 video that converts at double the rate of a $20 video is basically an infinite money glitch.
But wait, let's connect this back to what we talked about earlier. If an AI avatar can literally drive 200% more purchases than a living, breathing human influencer, are traditional UGC creators just completely obsolete?
It's a valid fear.
Right. Why is Google paying $500,000 to a human if an avatar converts better? Are we watching the death of the human influencer?
It's a critical question, but it's easy to misinterpret the data here. The human influencer isn't obsolete. What is obsolete is the commodity of a basic, low-effort talking head.
So wait, what exactly is the difference? Because to me, an influencer is an influencer.
Think about the massive segment of the influencer economy over the last 5 years that consisted of, conventionally attractive people sitting in their cars or their kitchens, holding up a bottle of shampoo, and just reading a bulleted list of features provided by the brand.
Yeah, we've all seen those videos.
There was no deep story, no real personality, just a transaction. That specific type of content, the low-effort talking head, has been completely commoditized by AI.
Because the AI can read a bulleted list just as well. And it doesn't complain about the lighting or ask for revenue share.
Precisely. Creatify's Aurora model can generate that exact style of video, completely indistinguishable from a mid-tier influencer casually reviewing a product at a fraction of the cost.
That's incredible.
Faceless brands can now spin up entirely synthetic influencer campaigns that look perfectly authentic to the end consumer who is scrolling past at 50 miles an hour. But the $500,000 creator, they aren't just reading bullet points. They are providing deep parasocial connection, lifestyle aspiration, and genuine cultural cachet.
Which the AI can't do.
Right. AI cannot simulate cultural cachet yet.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So the human creators who survive have to offer deep connection, while the faceless brands can completely monopolize the transactional ad space. But it's not just about avatars speaking English. The sources highlight Hagen as the absolute king of scale and localization.
Yes, Hagen is allowing faceless brands to operate globally with zero friction. Their platform currently supports over 175 languages with custom voice cloning.
So how does the voice cloning handle the nuance of language? Because if I clone my voice and translate it into French, I don't want it to sound like an American robot trying to speak French. I want it to sound natively French, but still sound like me. How does the architecture achieve that?
It uses a process called cross-lingual style transfer. The AI extracts the specific acoustic features of your voice, the timbre, the pitch, the resonant frequencies, and separates them from the phonetic pronunciation of the English language.
Okay, so it separates the sound of my voice from the words I'm saying.
Exactly. When it translates your script into French, it generates the native French phonetic sounds, complete with the correct regional inflection, and then it basically drapes your unique acoustic signature over those new sounds.
That is wild.
You record a script once in your bedroom, and Hagen translates it, clones your voice with native inflection, and automatically adjusts the avatar's lip movements to match the French syllables perfectly.
Which means a faceless brand run by one person in Ohio can simultaneously launch hyperlocalized ad campaigns in Germany, Japan, and Brazil by Tuesday afternoon.
Exactly. It completely flattens the global market. But we also have to look beyond the talking heads, because the ultimate goal for a brand isn't just someone talking to a camera, it's a compelling visual narrative. And the cinematic B-roll tools are experiencing a massive leap forward right now.
Right. According to the Curious Refuge 2026 industry benchmarks, a tool called Kling 3.0 is currently topping the charts with an 8.4 visual fidelity score.
Kling 3.0 is remarkable because it has seemingly solved the physics engine problem that plagued earlier video generation.
Yeah, AI videos used to have really weird gravity.
Exactly. Older models struggled immensely with human motion. If a character walked, their legs would clip through each other or the background would warp around them. Kling 3.0 utilizes an advanced spatial temporal attention mechanism that actually understands basic physical constraints. It generates photorealistic B-roll where human motion looks grounded and natural.
So Kling 3.0 is for the beautiful, cinematic, slow-motion shots of coffee pouring or people running. But the tool that truly broke my brain in this week's research is Seedance 2.0. Developed by ByteDance.
Oh, Seedance is a game changer.
The sources say it is pioneering multimodal generation. Now, I hear the word multimodal thrown around constantly in AI, but what does it actually mean in the context of generating a video?
Multimodal simply means the AI can understand and generate multiple types of data, text, image, audio, video simultaneously.
As opposed to piecing it together.
Right. Previously, you would use Midjourney to make an image, Runway to animate the image, and 11 Labs to generate a voiceover, and then you'd have to edit them all together in Premiere Pro. Seedance 2.0 changes the entire paradigm. You can feed it a text prompt, an image of your product, an audio track, and a reference video of how you want the camera to move, all in a single request. The engine processes all those modalities at once.
And what does it spit out?
It outputs a seamless 30-second clip with frame-accurate native audio. The dialogue is perfectly synced to the characters, the ambient background sound like wind or traffic matches the visual environment, and the sound effects are baked in.
That's crazy.
Think of it like a symphony conductor who isn't just waving a baton, but is actually fabricating the violins, writing the sheet music, and playing every instrument perfectly simultaneously.
That is the ultimate convergence right there. You don't need a fractured tech stack anymore. You won't need one tool for your avatar, another for your B-roll, and another for your sound design. It's all collapsing into a single workflow.
The consolidation is happening fast.
So tactically, what should a faceless brand be doing right now with all these tools?
If you run an e-commerce brand, your immediate action item is to implement Creatify's URL to video workflow. It requires zero editing skills and bypasses the UGC bottleneck entirely. You can test dozens of product angles in a single day. However, you need to be highly strategic about which tools you use for which platforms.
Yes, the sources were very explicit about this. What is the biggest mistake people are making right now? What should we actively avoid?
Do not use Synthesia for short-form, flashy TikTok or Instagram ads.
Really? Because Synthesia is one of the biggest names in the avatar space. I see their ads all the time.
Synthesia is a phenomenal enterprise-grade tool, but you have to understand its architecture and its intended use case. It is heavily optimized for corporate learning and development. Think HR training modules, internal communications, onboarding videos.
Oh, okay.
The avatars are highly professional, but they completely lack the dynamic micro-expressions and casual body language required for social media. The sources explicitly note that when you put a Synthesia avatar into a fast-paced social feed, it suffers from a severe uncanny valley effect.
People just swipe right past it.
Exactly. The audience immediately clocks it as a corporate robot. You want to use Creatify or Heigen for the messy, casual social feed and reserve Synthesia for the corporate boardroom.
And what is the tool we should be keeping our eyes on for the future?
Watch the rapid adoption of LTX Studio. When you want your brand's content to look like a directed, high-budget commercial, rather than just a random montage of AI B-roll, LTX Studio gives you extreme creative control.
How is it different from VO?
It doesn't just work on prompts. It uses a node-based, shot-by-shot storyboarding interface. You explicitly control the character consistency, the exact camera angles, and the scene composition across multiple cuts. It ensures your final result follows your actual creative vision, not just the random algorithmic hallucinations of a text parser.
It's the difference between hoping the AI gets it right and actually directing the AI like a filmmaker. And then, once you have that perfect directed video, we have the final piece of the creation puzzle, repurposing. Tools like Opus Clip are currently extracting viral moments from long-form content and running predictive analytics. They literally rank your clips with a virality score based on historical algorithmic trends before you even hit publish.
Which perfectly transitions us to the next crucial layer of this ecosystem. You've used VO 3.1 to generate your B-roll. You've got a hyper-realistic avatar ad from Creatify. The audio is perfectly synced. You have the ultimate piece of content. Now,
Where do you post it?
Exactly. Where do you post it to actually get views? Because a masterpiece unseen is just wasted server space.
So what does this all mean for distribution? We are moving out of the tools and into the arenas. Let's look at creator platforms and algorithms, because the landscape of where attention lives is shifting dramatically right now in March 2026. Let's start with the big heavyweight battle, Instagram versus TikTok.
This is a fascinating shift.
It really is. According to the latest social media strategists and industry reports, Instagram is currently thriving and pulling ahead, while TikTok is widely being perceived as flopping.
The word flopping might be a bit hyperbolic, but there is a clear, measurable decline in creator satisfaction and organic reach on TikTok right now.
What's causing it?
The main issue TikTok is facing is ad load saturation and watch time decay. They have pushed TikTok Shop and in-feed ads so aggressively that the core user experience has severely degraded. Users are swiping away faster, which inherently trains the algorithm to suppress content reach across the board.
Meanwhile, Instagram seems to be making incredibly smart, aggressive moves to keep creators on platform and, more importantly, monetizing. For example, they just rolled out link stickers via edits directly on Reels.
This is a massive structural change. For years, the biggest friction point on Instagram was the phrase link in bio.
Oh, the worst.
Right. You had to stop the user, ask them to leave the video, go to your profile, click a link tree, and find the product. By allowing clickable link stickers directly inside the Reel edit, Instagram is completely collapsing the sales funnel. You watch the video, you tap the screen, you buy the product.
And for faceless e-commerce brands, this dramatically increases conversion rates.
It's a game changer.
Instagram also expanded their carousel dimensions to a 1440 pixel height, which sounds like a boring technical update, but from a strategic standpoint, it's huge.
It's a battle for screen real estate. A 1440 pixel height means that when a user is scrolling their feed, your carousel takes up nearly the entire vertical space of a modern smartphone screen.
It literally pushes competing content off the edges.
Exactly. When you control the entire screen, you control the user's total attention.
But it's not just the short-form visual platforms making moves. YouTube is actively tweaking its algorithm to foster deeper parasocial relationships. They are rolling out voice note comments.
This is a really fascinating psychological play by YouTube. Historically, the comment section has been entirely text-based. By allowing creators to reply to comments using an embedded audio voice note, YouTube is injecting raw humanity into the interaction.
Oh, for sure. Hearing someone's voice changes everything.
Hearing the literal voice of the creator responding to your specific question triggers a much deeper emotional bond than just reading text on a screen.
And even on the audio side, Spotify is dealing with an absolute deluge of content. The numbers are staggering. 100,000 songs are uploaded to Spotify every single day.
It's an ocean of content.
The editorial curators just did a panel at SXSW, and they revealed exactly how their recommendation engine is currently working. They're looking for incredibly niche pitching.
Yes, the SXSW editorial insights were very revealing. They noted a massive surge in what they coined the ABAification of pop music, a heavy reliance on Swedish and Scandinavian pop chord progressions. But the tactical takeaway was really about the algorithm.
How so?
Spotify uses vector embeddings to map acoustic characteristics. When you upload a track, the algorithm plots it on a massive multidimensional map based on its sound.
So how does a creator use that map to get found?
The curators explicitly stated that playlists like Fresh Finds are their ultimate scouting tool for unsigned artists, and the only way to get onto those algorithmic playlists is through micro-niche tagging.
Like, don't just tag it pop.
Exactly. If you generate a lo-fi hip-hop beat using AI and you just tag it as pop or hip-hop, you are throwing it into an ocean of a million other tracks. The algorithm ignores it. You have to tag it for specific micro-communities tags like late night coding focus or rainy day matcha aesthetic.
Wow.
This forces the algorithm to cluster your track with highly specific user listening habits, which is what triggers the recommendation engine.
Niche down to blow up. It's an old rule, but it is completely amplified by AI categorization. But underneath all of these platform updates, Instagram's links, YouTube's voice notes, Spotify's niches, is that sobering reality we mentioned at the start of the deep dive. 75% of creators make under $100,000.
It's a tough reality.
And social media analysts are noting that the landscape is effectively splitting into two distinct buckets of success right now.
Yes, the dichotomy of the modern creator. The algorithm is heavily rewarding two specific archetypes right now: the expert personal brand and the chaotic personal brand.
The expert personal brand is highly educational, savable content. Think of a creator standing in front of a whiteboard, breaking down salary negotiation tactics, or explaining real estate tax loopholes. You watch it, you save it to a folder, and the algorithm registers that save as a massive signal of value.
Right, high utility.
The chaotic personal brand, on the other hand, is purely entertaining, shareable content. It is messy, unfiltered, highly emotional, deeply personality-driven. It's the vlog of someone crying in their car because they dropped their iced coffee.
Which brings up a massive, glaring contradiction for the faceless brands relying on AI tools.
Exactly. This is the paradox I have been trying to wrap my head around. We just spent half an hour talking about how foundational models and tools like VO 3.1 and Creatify allow us to generate perfect cinematic video and flawless, perfectly lit avatars. Yet, the algorithm is currently favoring this chaotic content that feels deeply, fundamentally human.
It's a total mismatch.
How does a faceless brand or an AI-generated avatar tap into chaotic energy or a polished, casual aesthetic when the content is literally generated by a machine in a sterile server farm?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of consumer psychology, AI perfection is actually a trap.
A trap? How can perfect lighting and flawless audio be a trap?
Because of the rapid proliferation of generative AI over the last 2 years, perfectly lit, perfectly scripted, hyper-aesthetic content is now immediately assumed to be AI by the average consumer.
Oh, interesting.
It triggers an automatic skepticism. The audience's internal spam filter activates. They assume they're being sold something synthetic. In response, audiences now actively crave a slight messiness to prove humanity. They want to see a slightly dirty camera lens, a stuttered word, a poorly lit room. That messiness is the new signal of authenticity.
So for faceless brands using these tools, You can't just use the default settings. You have to actively engineer the messiness.
Exactly. This is the secret to winning the algorithm in 2026. When you are using Runway or HeyGen or Creatify, you must intentionally prompt your AI tools to be imperfect.
That feels so backwards.
I know, but you need to prompt the video generator for a slightly handheld, shaky, 24 frames per second smartphone look. Instead of a pristine corporate studio background, you need to prompt for a casual, slightly messy bedroom setting with clothes on a chair.
And for the audio.
When you write the script for your HeyGen avatar, you don't write perfect prose. You explicitly type out pauses, filler words like and conversational tangents. You have to make the AI feel polished casual.
That is hilarious and slightly terrifying. You almost have to make the multi-million-dollar supercomputer act like it just woke up with a hangover and hit record on its iPhone to review a skincare product.
It is the ultimate paradox of modern marketing. You are using the most advanced computational technology in human history to fake an impromptu vlog. But it works because it bypasses the consumer's synthetic spam filter.
Because it feels real.
Yes. And regarding that 75% statistic, if you want to break out of that under 100K bracket as a faceless creator, the path forward isn't just making one perfect video. It is volume and extreme platform diversification.
Because if TikTok is perceived as flopping, you absolutely cannot have all your eggs in that one algorithmic basket.
Right. The modern faceless brand operates like a media conglomerate. You generate that intentionally casual AI content, and then you use tools like OpenAI to seamlessly chop and distribute it across Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and Pinterest simultaneously. You flood the zone.
Let's get to some tactical takeaways for the platforms. What should a faceless brand try this week to leverage these algorithmic shifts?
Utilize YouTube's new voice note comments immediately. This is a massive, untapped opportunity for faceless brands. If you are using an AI voice clone from 11 Labs for your main video voiceover, you should generate a few conversational, highly casual voice notes using that exact same cloned voice. Then manually reply to your top comments using those audio files.
Oh, that is brilliant. A fan comments, "Does this product work on dry skin?" And instead of typing yes, you drop a voice note that says, "Hey, yeah, it's actually amazing for dry skin. I use it every morning."
Exactly. It builds insane loyalty. It creates a powerful parasocial bond. And the pure novelty of a brand speaking directly to a commenter is highly rewarded by the current YouTube algorithm, which prioritizes session time and community engagement.
And what should they actively avoid doing?
As we discussed with Spotify, avoid pitching broad genres. If your faceless brand generates lo-fi beats or background music to monetize streaming royalties, do not pitch the broad category. Pitch the absolute micro niche. Understand how the vector embedding works and tag your tracks for hyper-specific situations to trigger algorithmic clustering.
Niche down, engineer the messiness, and flood the platforms. But all of this creation, all of this clever algorithmic manipulation is about to hit a massive legislative brick wall.
Which brings us to the final and perhaps most critical shift of the deep dive, the legal landscape.
We have covered how to make the content with the foundational models and tools. We have covered where to post it to ride the algorithm. But there is a massive legal trapdoor opening right now in March 2026. If you are operating an AI-driven online business, if you are a faceless creator, you have to know the rules of the road before your accounts get seized and your business gets shut down.
Ignorance of the law is no longer a viable business strategy.
No, it's really not.
The regulatory landscape moved faster in the first quarter of 2026 than in any period since the dawn of the internet. We are moving out of the era of theoretical guidelines and polite warnings. We are now in the era of active, punitive enforcement.
Let's start with the big one in the United States, the Federal Trade Commission. As of March 12, 2026, the FTC officially updated its guidance on AI-generated endorsements. Now, I hear legal jargon like Section 5 authority thrown around. Can you explain what Section 5 actually is and how the FTC is using it against AI?
Absolutely. Section 5 of the FTC Act is the foundational consumer protection law in the U.S. It broadly prohibits unfair or deceptive acts or practices in or affecting commerce.
So it's the anti-scam law.
Basically. Historically, this is the law they used to go after snake oil salesmen, false advertising, and fake Amazon reviews. What happened on March 12 is that the FTC explicitly stated that using an undisclosed AI avatar to simulate a human endorsement is fundamentally a deceptive practice under Section 5.
Wow. They made it explicit.
They view a synthetic influencer pretending to love a product exactly the same way they view a company paying for thousands of fake 5-star text reviews.
So what are the actual literal rules now? If I'm running an ad, what does the FTC demand?
The new rules state that disclosures for any AI-generated content must be clear, conspicuous, and placed physically near the content.
Wait, so I can't just slap a tiny semi-transparent watermark in the corner of the video that says made with AI?
Not even close. The FTC guidance explicitly calls out buried, fleeting, or easily missed disclosures. A tiny watermark won't hold up in court. You can no longer bury the fact that your influencer is an AI deep in the video description or hide it at the bottom of a terms of service page on your website.
They're cracking down hard.
The disclosure must be unavoidable for the average consumer viewing the content on a small mobile screen.
And this isn't just a federal issue. The sources show a rapid and frankly chaotic patchwork of U.S. state laws advancing right now. What is happening at the state level?
Well, because the U.S. Congress moves slowly, the individual states are rushing to fill the regulatory void. In Texas, House Bill 1709 just passed the State House. This bill pushes mandatory AI risk assessments for any system making consequential decisions.
What defines a consequential decision? Because I'm just selling drop-shipped T-shirts and skincare. I'm not, launching missiles.
In the eyes of the Texas law, a consequential decision involves things like employment, credit lending, housing, or healthcare. If you run a faceless brand that uses an AI tool to automatically screen resumes for hiring a virtual assistant, or if you use an AI algorithm to determine if a customer qualifies for a payment plan, you are subject to mandatory state audits.
Oh, wow.
You have to prove your AI isn't mathematically biased.
That is heavy compliance for a small business. And then you have California and Illinois taking a completely different angle.
Right. California's Senate Bill 243 and Illinois' Senate Bill 3262. These are colloquially known as the companion chatbot laws. They actively require operators of conversational AI to explicitly disclose that users are interacting with a machine, not a human.
I have to laugh a little bit. Is this really a law because people are falling in love with AI customer service reps?
It sounds funny, but the underlying threat is manipulative engagement. The states are extremely concerned about dark patterns.
What does that mean in this context?
If a sophisticated conversational AI is trained to act empathetic and human, it can easily manipulate a lonely or vulnerable consumer into upgrading a subscription, sharing highly sensitive personal data, or making a purchase they wouldn't normally make.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So the law requires a persistent, unmistakable disclaimer that the entity on the other side of the chat window is code, not carbon.
And it's not just the U.S. Internationally, this month is a massive turning point. As of March 1st, 2026, the European Union AI Act's GPII General Purpose AI Transparency obligations are now actively enforced.
Which is huge for global brands.
Literally. This means if you are operating foundational models or distributing AI content in Europe, you have strict copyright and transparency reporting requirements. Okay. Circling back to the U.S., New York is pushing Assembly Bill 9091, which mandates search engines to actively inform users when they are showing AI-generated information in search results.
It's coming from all sides.
Okay, this is a tremendous amount of legal framework. Let's bring this down to earth with a relatable, everyday scenario for the listeners. Let's say I am a faceless brand entrepreneur. I run a highly successful TikTok and Instagram account. I'm using a custom Heijian avatar that I created, and I'm using it to enthusiastically review a new skincare product I'm selling.
Okay, standard setup.
Do these new FTC guidelines and these state chatbot laws mean I legally have to slap a giant neon "This is a robot" sticker right across the face of my aesthetic skincare video?
This raises an important question about the intersection of marketing strategy and legal compliance. And the impartial, undeniable legal reality is, yes.
Wow.
The era of quietly passing off AI avatars as real human beings in commercial endorsements is officially over. The FTC has drawn a hard line. Deceiving a consumer into thinking a synthetic endorsement is a genuine human experience is illegal.
So the Wild West is dead. The days of tricking the audience are completely over.
The Wild West is absolutely dead. But rather than viewing this strict disclosure requirement as a fatal limitation that, ruins your aesthetic, smart AI brands are going to pivot. They're going to use the mandatory disclosure as a marketing tool.
How do you effectively market the fact that your content is completely fake? Doesn't that destroy the trust?
No, you lean heavily into the cyborg aesthetic. You make the transparency part of the brand voice. In an internet flooded with deceptive content, total transparency actually builds deep trust with a modern, highly skeptical audience.
Give me an example of how that looks.
Imagine an ad that starts with a sleek avatar looking right at the camera and saying, I am an AI, and my human creator programmed me to instantly analyze 10,000 individual customer reviews to find the mathematically perfect moisturizer for your dry skin.
Oh, that is incredibly smart. That is an incredibly compelling hook. You take the legal compliance requirement and you immediately turn it into a massive value proposition. I'm not a human, which means I can read 10,000 reviews in 3 seconds, so you don't have to.
Exactly. You reframe the artificiality as a superpower, but you have to be rigorous about it. You cannot skirt the edges of the law anymore.
So tactically, what is the immediate action step for our faceless brands regarding all this new regulation?
What you need to do immediately is audit your entire library of UGC ad campaigns. If you are currently running active ads using tools like Creatify or Hagen to generate synthetic customer testimonials, you must update your video text overlays this week.
Don't wait on this.
No. Add a clear, conspicuous disclosure that says AI-generated endorsement. Do it to comply with the March FTC updates right now before your ad accounts get flagged or you get hit with a deceptive practice notice.
And what should we be keeping a close eye on in the coming months?
Watch the fragmentation of the state laws. Because we still do not have a comprehensive, unified federal AI law in the U.S., you are dealing with a treacherous patchwork. A deepfake or an AI avatar ad might be perfectly legal to run without massive friction in Florida, but it might require highly specific disclosures or trigger strict liability under the Illinois Companion AI Protection Act or California's new laws.
It's a minefield.
You have to monitor the state-level legislative trackers constantly if you are running nationwide ad campaigns.
It is a massive tectonic shift in how we operate. Okay, we have covered an incredible amount of ground today. From the underlying architecture, the foundational models, to the hyper-specific AI video tools, the shifting sands of the platform algorithms, and the heavy hammer of government policy. Let's bring it all together for our signature segment. This week in AI, 3 big things. We are going to fire off the 3 most vital, undeniable takeaways from this entire deep dive in a fast-paced news bulletin style. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Number 1, the $500,000 authenticity premium. Big tech is inadvertently proving that genuine human connection is the ultimate premium product in 2026. They are paying human creators massive $500,000 sums just to be tangentially associated with their AI tools. This proves that while the AI model itself has become a cheap commodity, authentic human trust is the ultimate luxury asset.
Number 2, the rise of the polished casual avatar. The intersection of highly advanced generation tools like Creatify's mobile-optimized Aurora model and the algorithmic demand for messy, casual content dictates an entirely new strategy. Faceless brands can no longer rely on default perfection. You must intentionally engineer human-like imperfections, stutters, shaky cameras, messy rooms into your synthetic content if you want to bypass the consumer spam filter and win on platforms like Instagram and YouTube.
Number 3, the era of forced transparency. The FTC's aggressive Section 5 crackdown and the active enforcement of the EU AI Act are officially ending the Wild West of undeclared AI content. From March 2026 onward, clear, conspicuous disclosure is the new, non-negotiable baseline for operating an online business. The smartest brands won't hide from this. They will embrace the cyborg aesthetic and use transparency as a sales tactic.
Those are 3 massive shifts that completely redefine how a faceless brand operates from the ground up.
Absolutely. Okay, let's bring the energy down to a grounded, practical level for our outro. We love to leave you with things you can actually go execute on today.
Right, because theory is useless unless you put it into practice. Knowledge is most valuable when it's applied.
Here are your calm, practical action steps for the week. Step 1. Go to your current, top-performing social media ad campaign right now. If it uses an AI voiceover from 11 Labs or an AI avatar from Hagen or Creatify, open up your editor and add a clear, conspicuous text disclosure to the video this week. Stay ahead of the FTC, embrace the cyborg aesthetic, and protect your business from unnecessary liability.
Step 2. Even if you aren't quite ready to run a fully synthetic AI avatar ad, take just one link from your online store, your best-selling product, and drop that URL into an AI video generator like Creatify. Do it just to see what the AI scriptwriter pulls out. Let it scrape your page and generate the 5 to 10 variations. Even if you never publish the video, analyzing the specific angles, hooks, and wording the AI chooses to sell your product might spark your next great human-led marketing idea.
Use the AI as a high-speed brainstorming partner. I love that. All right, that is our deep dive for today. If you want to stay ahead of these rapid shifts, make sure to follow the Baddie Blueprint, use the code ABaddies promo, and check out their Substack and Instagram for daily, highly tactical strategies on navigating this exact landscape.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one final, slightly mind-bending thought to mull over.
Oh boy. I know you're mind benders. Lay it on me.
We spent this entire deep dive talking about a closed loop of artificial intelligence. We talked about AI foundational models like Sora and Veo generating the content. We talked about AI recommendation algorithms on TikTok and Instagram sorting and promoting that content. And we talked about AI web crawlers like Google bots and Anthropic scrapers indexing that content.
Right. Machines making it, sorting it, and reading it.
Well, very soon we are going to see the final piece of the puzzle fall into place on the consumer side. AI-generated avatars pitching products directly to AI personal shopping assistants that consumers use to screen their daily purchases.
Wow. So my AI avatar is talking to your AI assistant.
Exactly. So the question you have to ask yourself about the future of digital commerce is this. When the creator making the pitch is an AI, the platform algorithm distributing the pitch is an AI, and the viewer evaluating the product is an AI, well, who is actually buying the product?
I am literally going to be staring at the ceiling thinking about that tonight. When the entire transaction is machine to machine, where does the human actually fit into the economy? Thank you for listening to The Deep Dive. Keep building, stay transparent, and we will see you next time.